Started. So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us for this discussion around the Shingwauk Reunions and looking back at the Shingwauk Reunions. So our guests for today is Jay Jones, who's going to act as moderator, as well as three fantastic ladies, Irene Barbeau, Jackie Fletcher, and Shirley Horn, all of who are survivors, as well as who have all been really involved in the Children of Shingwauk Alumni Association and the Shingwauk Reunions. So I'm going to pass things over to Jay to get us started.
Thanks, Krista. As Krista said, I'm Jay Jones, president of the Children of Shingwauk Alumni Association. My mom and my dad and three uncles were sent to Shingwauk Indian Residential School. And what's cool about the reunions and the gatherings is that's how I found out about the Indian Residential School stories. So what those mean to me is you can't measure it, because it's all the knowledge that you gain from attending these gatherings and these reunions. When you think of a reunion, you think of a happy time, you know, meeting classmates you haven't seen in 5 or 10 or 20 years. And then when you think about a reunion at an Indian residential school, you think, it's like, well, how can this happen? You know, how can they be celebrating something like that? But I don't think it was a celebration. I think it was just a meeting of like-minded people to tell the story and to start their healing process. So for me personally, that's been the biggest thing the reunions have given me, is part of my healing journey. And I truly believe a lot of my healing journey started then. So what I would like to do is ask those three wonderful ladies that Krista just mentioned, and we can go one by one. So Irene, you're number one. Jackie, you're number two. And Shirley, you're, huh? Does Jackie want to be number one? Jackie, you are number one.
I'm just kidding.
Shirley, oh, okay.
I want to arm wrestle for the number one spot.
Okay.
Come on, Irene.
All right. All right, so we have meetings when I could go to Canada, and before COVID and stuff, we'd have meetings, and we'd usually sometimes start Friday afternoon, but most of the time it'd be all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And when we meet, this is what we do. We just laugh for like a half hour to an hour, and then we get down to business. But we all agree that laughter is some of the best medicine, and that's why we do this. It's medicine for us. So what my first question I'd like to pose is to each of you, and you one at a time.
We have to do the prayer, Jay.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. This is the second time I did that. Okay. So usually I remember too. So that's bad on me. So Shirley, seeing as how you reminded me, would you please open us in prayer?
I sure will. Thank you very much, Jay. First of all, I want to say welcome to Mario. Hi, Mario. And Ken. Hi, Ken. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're
Hi, everyone.
You're going to be listening in on this for sure. And the rest of you. Hello. Some of you I know and some of you I don't. Or maybe I've met you and I've forgotten. That's quite acceptable at my age right now. If I do know you and I've forgotten, hello again. Okay, let's get serious now. Oh, Creator, we say miigwech today for bringing us together, for allowing us to touch one another with our words, with our thoughts, and with our minds. We ask that you be with us in our conversation here today, and we ask that we be guided by your light and your love. And we welcome everyone to this table and wish everyone a great day. Oh, miigwech, thank you. Miigwech.
Miigwech. Miigwech, Shirley.
Thank you.
So the first question I have is, how was the first reunion organized? So Jackie, you have your mic on, so why don't you answer that for us, please? Or each of you can answer that question.
All I know is Don Jackson was responsible for organizing the first reunion based on the words he got from Dan Pine, who said, bring the people together and they will know what to do. That's basically what I know about the organization of the first reunion. Maybe the other ladies had more information.
I have a little bit. It was done through his class as a project. So he had a lot of help from his students to organize the reunion. And that's my story that I recall anyway. And thank you. Irene, you know any different?
Well, what I heard is what you and Jackie said, and I think it had something to do with some controversy that was happening at the university at the time. And when Don, who was a good friend of Dan Pine, was also a mentor to him, that he said that, you know, if anybody cares about what happens to this building, gather all the former students. They're the ones who are going to care what happens, invite them to come. And then that's what he did. And I saw the ad in the Anglican Journal. Like in the Anglican Journal is like a quarterly report that goes out to all of the parishioners in the whole Anglican community across Canada in different provinces. So that's where I saw the ad, and I said to my husband at the time, I said, I gotta go there to renew my friendships with my colleagues. That's what I know of the first reunion. And I think they had about 500 people come because they were inclusive of the staff and friends of the community.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie, how did you find out about the first reunion? In which year did you go? Did you go to the very first one?
In 1981, I don't remember how I found out. I think somebody called me from the school, whoever the organizers were. But I was in Nova Scotia at the time.
Shirley has a visitor.
Yeah,
Welcome.
that's my great granddaughter. She just fixed my computer for me so I could get
Awesome.
on.
Is she going to join us? She
I
should
don't
join us,
know.
eh?
I
You
don't
should
think
join
so.
us. Yeah. So Shirley, how did you find out about the very first reunion?
I was living on Salt Spring Island at that time, and someone called me.
Yeah.
I think one of my family called me, and I said, absolutely, I'm coming, you know, and I was very excited about that, being able to see all my friends that I had there, and just I think what I experienced was the great joy of the children being able to see children. Well, we were adults then, but being able to see each other again, because so much of our lives were lived with each other, and everybody was our family. And of course, we had different groups that we stuck with, but everybody was open and happy, just happy to see that we had all come through it and had grown up and had families, and we're traveling all across Canada. So it was a miracle that we came together like that. It was meant to be.
Yep, I agree.
Thank you.
The even before that, the story I like to tell, and this is how my mom told me the story, so I don't know if someone else has a slightly different version or not, but when Don Jackson was a professor, he was working late one night in Shingwauk Hall, and while he had his door open to his office, and he's working away, and no one else is in the building that he knows of, and he hears children laughing. So he goes to his door, he looks down the hallway to the left and to the right, and he doesn't see anything, so he goes back to work. And then a few moments later, he hears it again. So he goes back to the hallway, walks down the other end, walks the other end, doesn't see anybody, so he goes back to work. A few moments later, he hears it a third time. So this time he goes to a couple of the floors and he doesn't see anybody. So he goes back to his desk and he starts wondering what it was. So he did a little research and he found out it was an Indian residential school, a former Indian residential school. So I always thought that story was just phenomenal, and how it was almost like the catalyst that started this whole grassroots movement. And to me, that was like one of the cornerstones of this whole story. So I think that's a pretty neat story, and I always like telling it. So hopefully I got it fairly correct.
I never heard that before. That's truly amazing.
Yeah, my mom told me. My mom told me that a long time ago. Yep. So.
I like to tell a little story about Shirley at the first reunion. I remember, I don't know who she was, but when she entered the room in Garden River, it was a social. It was supposed to be like a karaoke thing. And she walked in and she had this air about her that you couldn't miss. She had on a jean skirt. I know exactly what she had on. She had on a jean skirt with her jean blouse on, and she was dripping in Navajo jade jewelry and she had cowboy boots on. And I thinking to myself, who is this lovely woman? And I didn't know that was Jackie's sister, because Jackie and I had been friends all through our time at Shingwauk. And then I found out later that who she was, and that she was a real good singer, because she sang with Michael, I guess, her old boyfriend, Jackie. Michael Kagaji. And also, I remember Marjorie Lee is Mike's sister, and she sang an Elvis song with all the movements and everything. And also Jackie got up and sang too, because they were all singers with their guitars, and they were just so awesome. Yeah, that's what I remember. I always tell that story because Shirley had that air about, I'm here now, folks.
You can start the reunion.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a story to tell you.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
go ahead.
It's about Marjorie Lee and her husband, Robert. He was just so amazed at the friendships that had been struck over the years, that we were such good friends with each other. He couldn't believe it. And I thought that was, to me, it didn't mean that much, but from his eyes, he saw it as being amazing.
Yeah, it's when you stop and think about it, is the family that you had for years was the people that you lived with at the Indian residential school. And, that's what my mom called Shingwauk home. She was there for 12 years, from 4.5 to 16 years of age. That was her home. And that's what she recognized it as
her home too.
Yeah. So the people that she knew, her good friends there, those were her family. So you create that bond that lasts a lifetime. And when you get back together again, it's renewing that friendship and that bond for sure.
Yeah. And you don't know that bond until you've experienced it, because it's out of the realm of everybody's understanding. To be institutionalized, and there was only so much freedoms we were allowed, but one thing that we did do to the best of our ability was create those bonds with each other, because we always talked about going home or being home or doing things on the land or going fishing, or all of those things we talked about, and that strengthened our bond while being in school. So it is very special.
And I think that's segues into my next question. What do you have a couple favorite memories of? I know it was a tough time and it was hard, but do you have, in the reunions, do you have a favorite time or something that comes to mind that might be monumental?
It was just getting together and doing the social thing that night that out at, I forget what the name of that place where we had our feast. And
that was the Hiawatha, wasn't it?
Hiawatha, yeah. Just everybody getting together in the same room and looking at each other and trying to figure out who that one is and who do you belong to. And I don't remember you. Remembering a lot of people's faces as soon as I saw them. It was an amazing time.
Shirley, you had your hand up. Do you have a
Yeah,
favorite memory?
yeah, absolutely. It was uh how we were so joyful to see each other. That to me, and being able to talk about the days that we spent in Shingwauk, because those, we didn't talk about our hard work or all this. We talked about our special relationship with each other and the things that we used to do. I know when I was with a group of girls, and we used to try to get into mischief somehow, and we were successful most of the time. We didn't get caught, but we used to get up early in the morning before the bell rang, and that was before 6 o'clock in the morning. And we used to get dressed, and we used to get our beds made and everything, get ready for the bell to ring. So as soon as the bell ring, we'd jump out and we'd run down the stairs. Oh no, we had to say prayers first. That's right. We'd jump out, make our bed and everything, and we'd say our prayers. And as soon as prayers was over, we'd run down the stairs. Well, we weren't going to the dining room, or we weren't going to the kitchen. We were going out to the barn. We ran out to the barn. Oh, we made a stop at the kitchen because we wanted to take the slop pail out to the pigs that were in the barn. The reason why we wanted to go to a barn is because they had in the hayloft, they had one of those rope swings. So we climb up the hayloft and we'd swing across to the other side of the barn and go drop in there. And we'd do that a few times, and then we'd say, oh, we better go back. We got to set the table for breakfast. So we brush all the straw off of us back to the school. And this time we came into the playroom. Everybody was lined up except us. We came in the door. Everybody was looking at us. Where have you guys been? So we got caught. Oh, we got a strapping anyway at that time. But that was one of the fun things that we did, and really enjoyed it and had a blast regardless. That was one of my favorite memories. And another one of my favorite, I'm going to go on to number 2, because it was being in the choir, being able to sing in the choir and be able to stay up on Friday evening to go to choir practice in the auditorium. So that was a little privilege for me, for sure. Okay.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite memories in 1981 was meeting all my friends for the first time, and nobody really changed that much, other than we were still all young at the time. Some of us were in our 30s and 40s. I remember seeing Marjorie. She was all dressed in white. And she had this long black hair, and she was so beautiful. And also Dorothy Niwagabo is another girl I remember. She was all dressed in white, because I remember her because when in my last year of high school, she had already graduated and was working at Indian Affairs on Churchill Plaza. And I used to go and spend weekends with her because she had her own apartment. So I was so glad to see her, because, you know, you leave, you graduate, you leave, and you don't know where anybody went. Mm-hmm. And when you see them and you start to ask now, I remember Abel Kitchen would go around looking at the girls' names, because he knew the girls had changed their names. And did he marry a white guy, or did he marry an Indian? I was running around looking at all the girls, because we all had name tags on, and they put our maiden names below the name, eh? And then he'd say, oh, you married a white guy, oh, you married, like that was so hilarious, because you do these things because you're so happy to see them, and you want to make sure, you know, you got the right person with the right name and everything. It was just the joy of reminiscing. Oh, it was beautiful. And when we had that feast at Hiawatha Lodge, I remember you sang, Shirley, you were the band to dance to. And Jackie and her ex-husband was playing. You guys provided the music. So that was so awesome because here's our survivors providing the music. And the other last thing I want to talk about is I was sitting with a bunch of family and friends, and then the waiter brings me a drink. I think it was a beer. And he told me that guy over there sent it to you. And I said, who? And then he pointed out to Able Kitchen. He said, that guy over there sent this drink for you because he used to be my boyfriend. And I thought, oh, look. Crazy. And of course, everybody thought it was so hilarious at our table. And say, you know how Native people like to tease, and they say all kinds of things and they laugh. And that's what they did because he was from Wasanapee. You know, they were sitting at the next table, but he had his girlfriend with him. She was from Chesapeake, so.
Irene remembers that.
Yeah.
I got another story to tell you of the 81 reunion. It has nothing to do with our reunion other than I had to drive through Garden River and there was nothing but shacks. It stands out so vividly in my mind. There was not a new house on that reserve. And there was a lot of people staggering around and walking on the highways and stuff. 10 years later, what a difference it made. That community now, you don't see a shack in that community. It's amazing.
That's right.
So what do you attribute that to?
People gaining self-respect and, dealing with their addictions and all that stuff. There's a lot of work been done at Garden River in terms of helping their members to heal. I remember they did a demonstration and they put crosses where everyone was killed on that reserve. And there was crosses lined up as far as your eyes could see where they were killed on that highway. So that was a vivid memory of mine for sure in that 81 reunion and how things have changed over the years. I wish I had a picture then and a picture now. Maybe somebody's got pictures of it a long time ago.
If anyone knows, it's Krista.
Yeah, because I
Krista's
think
not that old.
Pardon?
Krista's not that old.
He probably wasn't even born yet.
Well, those photographs.
81?
I was an 81 baby.
Oh, okay. What about Krista? Is she an 81 baby? Oh,
No, I was not born yet.
so,
but I haven't seen photos in the archive.
Hi, John.
Oh, hi, John.
Hey,
Get your thumb off the screen.
another elder's with us, John Sailors. Can you hear us, John?
He got his mic on?
He hasn't got his mic on.
Yeah. Yeah, because
John, can you hear us?
Oh, there we go.
He's connecting.
Yeah.
We'll give him a second.
At that time, you had to drive Highway 17 ran right to the reserve. So if you were coming, you had to drive right through the reserve. And the other thing that I remember seeing, it said, this is Indian country. On the railway track, I remember seeing that Indian country or something.
Indian land.
Indian land?
Yeah. It's still there.
Yes, I see that.
It gets repainted every once in a while. So yeah, it's the message not going away.
So John Sailors just joined us. He is also a Shingwauk survivor. So John, we talked a little bit about how the first reunion was organized, but what was the year that you attended your first reunion?
Around 93.
Oh yeah.
So I did 81.
or 91.
Yeah, I think it was 91, was the second one.
Yeah.
Correct, Krista?
The one
Yeah.
that was held down in Garden River.
That was 81.
Because I remember being down Garden River at the community center in 93. So that must be something different,
Must
but
be.
it pertained to residential school.
Irene, do you know that?
Yeah,
You were
because
checking
what
out.
happened was we always went to Garden River during those reunions in the 90s because we ate, they catered one of the lunches or supper. We always went down there and they always fed us fish. Remember, we went to
Yeah.
the community building there and we always had fish and it was so delicious. And that was sort of part of, if it was in the evening, it was part of the social program we had. Because then sometimes they'd have karaoke when Michael started bringing his karaoke machine. And I remember he wouldn't get off the stage singing. And some girls from Mr. Singing called me over and they said, Irene, can you tell Michael to get off the stage and let somebody else sing? I said, I can't machine.
Yeah,
You know, in
it was-
81, we had the barbecue down at Garden River,
yeah.
the
we had
last
that.
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. Most of the ones we had in 90, we always went to Garden River for something.
No, but
And
this
then
was
we
81
started
I'm
going to
telling
the
you about.
big lodge.
Irene,
Yeah.
I'm talking about 81.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We had our
Mhm.
final barbecue at Garden River.
Yes, that's right. Because it was on a Sunday night, eh?
Yeah, it was so nice there. Laughing Waters Beach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was wonderful.
John, do
One
you have,
thing-
oh, I want to give John a second.
Okay,
Sorry about
John.
that. John, do you have a favorite memory from any of the reunions?
Only memories I have is just being there for the fire, sharing with people, helping in any way I can.
Mm.
Because I always left up the other elders to do the organization and stuff like that. But I was always at the fire or whenever I'm called on to do something. That was my most peaceful and quiet time when I'm there doing things.
Can
You
you
were a
Yes.
medicine
Away.
man then.
Can you
So-
share with us your responsibilities at the fire during a reunion?
My responsibility was just to keep the fire going and see who's all going to help me when I was doing this. I had a good friend that passed away a year ago, and a lot of people remember him as Johnny Tangi. And he
Oh,
was
yeah.
a very good firekeeper because he stayed there all night long. But he also stayed there during the daytime sleeping on the bench
Mhm.
because he was so close to that fire because he found what he needed to find within himself. And a lot of people come there and I would share with them my experiences through residential school and all those things. Because I was always searching for something, searching for answers. But this afternoon, before this whole thing started, I shared something on Facebook and it hit home for me. It's on Facebook right now. I wrote a letter to the principal of Shingwauk and I stated that I wasn't learning nothing. So I went home. They gave me a ticket to go home. It touches me right here talking about it. I got off the train and I walked to my grandpa's house. And I walked through that door and my grandpa was standing there, my grandfather Henry. And all he said to me was, "Why did you come home? There's nothing here for you." So I turned around and I walked out to find my own way. 57 years. And this morning I found the answer. Through my own culture, through my own independence. Because what I was looking for was my spirituality within myself. And I found it. After I wrote that, I went to my place where I'm going to put my sweat lodge up. I laid tobacco down to thank the spirits for helping me, to thank my grandfather for helping me. Because you have to find it on your own. Sure, people want to help you, but you have to find it on your own. And I believe that I found it on my own today. I have to maintain my spirituality because all the forces that are out there try to take that away from me. They never broke me and they will never will. Because the Creator's on my side. He will always watch my back. Spirits are always on my side. They'll always watch out for me. And it hurt. And all that pain left. I just have tears of happiness, tears of joy within myself, because it is a very emotional time for me. Because I found what I've been looking for. I found myself. And it's not easy. After 57 years of going through a hell. And the only way you'll find it is when you walk through that door. Every door that you have to face, you have to walk through it alone. But I'll always thank my grandpa for sharing the truth with me. Because he knew either I was going to make it or I wasn't. 57 years is a long time for a 15-year-old boy to learn things the hard way. But I ran into a lot of good people after 1992 when I turned my life around, finding help, learning about myself. Because at the end, you just find spirituality. Today I'm very humbled to be with you people, supporting you as much as you supported me throughout this whole thing. I'm so grateful and I'm so blessed. I don't know what other words I can say, but all I can say is big thanks to each and every one of you for being there for me, because I learned so much and I'm going to keep learning. There's nothing more that other society can teach me or to show me. But I know there are good teachers out there in our way of life, in our traditional life. And I learn from them, but I don't take nothing from them because it's their ceremony. But all I do is respect what they do. And all I ask is that they respect what I do, because I'm doing it for the people, to help people. So thank you, Miigwech, for allowing me to share this. Miigwech, my young friend, because your mother was a very special person in my life.
Yeah.
Even though she was a good Christian, I always had respect for her in anything that she did. And I will always maintain that in my heart. Same with the elders on her alumni will always have you in my heart, praying for you. So I see miigwech. Aho, miigwech.
Miigwech, John.
Oh, miigwech, John.
Yeah,
Go ahead, John. Go ahead, Irene.
and I think that's one of the other purposes of these reunions was that after 1991 reunion, when all the ugliness of the residential school came open and everything was blown wide open with stories of abuse and whatnot from the staff and also student to student abuses. I think the creator put us there for the reunions to provide a venue for survivors that were hurting, and they had a safe place to start their healing journey. And then when they got home, that they could continue. Otherwise, if they didn't, then they would contact us and we would help them out. Because we had an office on site that was staffed by a full-time person. So any information they wanted about anything, they could call the office during office hours. So I think that's one of the importance of having these, we call them reunions, but now we call them gatherings, because there were still a lot of survivors that really haven't done their healing journey. And now also the focus became on the second generation that were affected by the residential school system. And I find with the, that's a perfect venue for them to be in, and it's in a gathering setting where they feel safe and the proper emotional and physical support is there for them to tell their stories.
Agree. Jackie, did you have something to add?
No, not right now.
Okay. Well, Shirley, did you?
Yeah, I just wanted to, recalling all those gatherings that we had. And I know one of my favorite gatherings was when Jackie and I were working together to put on a drum festival. We started the drum festival. What year was that, Jackie? I can't remember.
Year after 9/11.
Oh, okay, 9/12 then. No.
No, 2002, I think.
Yeah, we started the drum festival, and it was a hard road. We worked very, very hard on putting it on every year. And so one year we decided that we would work with Algoma University, and we would do that. We had the gathering there, and we had the blessing, to go ahead and have this. And it was such an incredible time for us, because we had this big dragon that we had running all over, and that was to represent the residential school. Was this big black dragon, and so that dragon was going all over the field. We had people inside that were running with this, something like that Chinese dragon. And then after a while, they undid the ribbons that were holding the black cloth on, and all the black cloth dropped to the ground, and they were all colored underneath, all different colors, just bright and beautiful. And we had people with fairy wings on, coming out from the dragon as well. So that was a lot of fun. And it was fun. Yeah, a lot of work. And there was this one big heavy guy. I guess he must have been close to 300 pounds, I guess. And he came out and he had these little fairy wings on him, and he was dancing out on the. We laughed so hard about that, but that was, what a sport that guy was, just made the people happy to be witnessing this. So that was one of my really good memories.
I remember that. I remember that dragon. I was at that reunion. Yeah. Johnny, just to add on something you mentioned, is being a firekeeper at the gatherings, and what a responsibility that is, and it's not to be taken lightly. Not everybody's called to do it. I have a twin brother, and he's never been to a reunion. And when he went to his first reunion, everybody went up to me and says, "You have a twin brother? And why haven't we never seen him?" And the reason he went up there is because I asked Johnny, I goes, "My brother loves campfires. He loves keeping the campfire. When we go camping as a family, he loves keeping the fires." I goes, "Would you mind if my brother joined you in the arbor and maybe learn the fire keeping responsibilities?" And Johnny said, "By all means, that's a wonderful thing." So my brother came up to the reunion, and he didn't last very long. He goes, "I'm going back to the room." I goes, "How come?" I goes, "Those guys stay out there all night." He goes, "Oh no." He goes, "No, I can't stay up that late." I goes, "If you want to be a firekeeper, that's what you got to do." So yeah, so the responsibility they carry is just monumental, in all the care that they take and all the time that they devote that entire weekend of the gathering. They're out there 24/7. They're out there comforting other people. So Johnny, you've been on your healing journey for a while now, and you've done so much good for others. And I don't know if you even realize that, but you certainly have. And I want to thank you. A big Shingwauk to you.
There's a lot of work goes into it before the fire even starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So
I'll share a little bit of what happened one time. I was at a fire with a friend of mine, another friend in Winnipeg. And as we were watching the fire, this young man came, and he was intoxicated. And people were pushing him away. Even the coordinators, the community members were pushing him away. And I got disappointed. I didn't like what was happening. So I told my friend, "I gotta go. This doesn't seem to be right." As I got in the car and I drove away, and I was driving to Sudbury, his answer came. And as if the spirits were telling me, "Creator didn't turn you away," which is true. I will never turn anybody away if they're willing to learn, because it's not an easy thing to do, to sit there. It's not an easy thing to do. But that's what I've learned. Don't ever turn anybody away, no matter what, because they're there for a reason. It happened to me at 2 fires one time, and one in Wawa, another person intoxicated. When he came to that fire, people thought they were going to see a miracle. Then I was going to heal him.
Oh.
I let him sit there all through the night. I let him sleep in my friend's tent. But he woke up the next morning. I drove him back to Wawa. And as he got out of the car, he said to me, "You're the only one that never turned me away." I said, that's what I learned, to never turn anybody away, no matter what. He says, "And now I understand." He says, "I'm going home and I'm going to do things right. Because what you taught me, what you showed me, and that's what you have to do." Creator never turned anybody away. Know how bad they are or whatever they did. He never turns anybody away. He does it in his own way. So that's what people have to learn. Do things the way you've been taught. Because there's a lot of teachings out there. And like I said, I learned from so many people that follow that good road. And I've always respected in what they teach and what they learn. Because that's what you do. You share. You share what you know. And that's where all it begins. When you find that kindness within yourself, that honesty within yourself, so you're able to share and to have that strength in yourself. Many teachers come into my life, and that's one of the things that I pass on to people. I don't force it on them. I just share what I know. That's what that old man said, you know. I said, yes, I know. Because he didn't have to tell me nothing. He just showed me what I needed to know. That's all about fire keeping, ceremonies, everything. And I watched him. That old man was about 113 years old. He was over 113 when he passed away. He was looking special in my heart, what he showed people. And a few of you people have met him. A few people you know. Peter Ortiz. I attended his ceremonies and I learned all that I needed to know. And I still don't know everything. I'm learning as I go along. Because he sat me down and he asked me, what do you know? And I said, nothing. I don't know nothing. Good, he says. You're easy to teach. Because you have to let go of that other world if you really want to know something. Because once you know that, then you can go back to that other world and learn. Because it works. That's why I'm able to function in both worlds. Even though that other world is hard to live by, but I still function in a normal way. So we just keep doing what's best for you. Find answers, because they're out there. You find that special person to come into your life, share things with you. They don't tell you nothing, especially real elders. They don't tell you nothing. They show you how to do things. That's what real elders do. Old people. And that's what I got to do with young people. Show them. Show them a good way. Without anger, negativity, all those things that we gathered in that other world. How simple life is when you follow the Creator's road. That's the only road I follow today. I give up on that other world, but I'm able to walk into it and learn from it. That's why I thank my grandmother, my own grandmother, this afternoon when I put my tobacco on the ground 4 times. I thank them for being truthful with me. The truth does hurt. And that's how you learn, through pain, suffering. So I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to change nothing. I just accept people for who they are, what they are, and where they come from. That's the way old people used to do a long time ago. They worked with the people. I get to be an old man now. Because, you know, that's what I'm going to become. 72 years old. It's been a long, long journey. Very long. And I still got a long ways to go yet. Learning, learning, learning. Learning about that good road. And again, I thank you for listening. I appreciate everything that you people do. It's all going to work out, especially with those children. It's all going to work out. Just do what you got to do. Never mind what other people think or say. That's how we have to live. If they want to help, come and help. But don't try to take control. And I will not do that. I will not take control of anybody's life or anything. I follow a good road. And it's not an easy road to follow. But I do my best. And is there anybody else out there got something to share this so that I can learn? Oh, miigwech.
Oh, my God.
Congrats, Johnny. So a final question is, why are these gatherings and the reunions important to the CSAA, EU elders? So Shirley, you have your mic on, so why don't you go first?
Okay. I believe that as long as we continue to have our gatherings, this is an opportunity to welcome more people into our family, our CSAA family. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. And that it continues our line in history, the history of this place and everything that it has gone through since the time of the creation of the first residential schools. We are here today in this this era, which is completely different than when we first started. We have gathered many friends, many partners along the way, and we have imparted our stories to them. And the story has been led by many different people from different parts of the country about the struggles that we have as First Nations. And residential schools was a big part of that struggle as well. It was the main part, I do believe, because it changed our lives forever. And it's important that we continue to gather and keep the records of the history and remember the people who are part of the growth, and to honor the children that went before us, and to honor the people who never arrived home. And that's important that we continue to do that. As a matter of fact, Jackie and I are working very closely with the city on working with the
Snowden Park.
children that were drowned in the lake in Snowden Park. We're very successful, and then we'll be letting you know as we move along on that. The city is very open to our suggestions, and that we place memorials there in the form of trees that will live. It's a living memorial, and to mark those children that lost their lives in that little lake. Their bodies were never recovered, and so we've taken up the children of Shingwauk have taken up the banner to move forward and to move ahead with the help of a non-native man who lost his brother there. So he couldn't get anything done. So we work together with our group and the city, and things are moving forward and very well. Looks like we're going to have a park with a new name as Memorial Park, and there's going to be information about those children that perished in that little lake back there. And I think it's really important that our partners, not only with Algoma University, but with the city of Sault Ste. Marie, step up to the plate. It took great urging for them to get there, but they have arrived there. And I think that when we move forward, this is the kind of work that we have done up to this point in time. And it's very important that new discoveries, new things may show their face, and children of Shingwauk have to move forward and be able to rectify what was wrong, or do ceremony for it, or involve other people. And it's important that children of Shingwauk are still here, because it is the foundation of this whole movement across Canada. And we were there every step of the way, right from the formation of the reunions that we had, as we decided that it was important to continue that. And we will continue that into the future. We're at a point now where we do need other people to join the children of Shingwauk and want to move forward and help us move forward in a very supportive role. And it doesn't matter if you are a Native person or a non-Native person. We believe that we're all the same, and we all, today is a different day than yesterday was. We welcome people today as our brothers and sisters and our helpers, and that has to continue. And eventually, I know and understand, I know it in my heart, that this whole movement will be known worldwide. And I think it's important that as children of Shingwauk fade away, others come up and join the movement, because that's what it is, towards making that happen. And I'd like to see as an example to the world that we are able to come forward as Indigenous people to right the wrongs of the past and to make that history known, and that we will forever stand in support of the whole story and the whole picture, and where it's going to go is in the Creator's hands. And I say miigwech for that, because we're only here for so long. Thank you very much.
Oh,
I see you, Jackie. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to give you, because I made my notes to this reunion stuff, so I want to read them.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
So it's time to renew all friendships and acquaintances. It's a healing opportunity. We do storytelling. We have vendor displays. Many of our survivors have done great things and need to be showcased. Time to showcase our youth and their pathways. And we have artists, crafters, developers, entrepreneurs, and so on. It's time for workshops, time to do hands-on understanding of certain subjects, solutions to specific problems and what works. We need a theme venue for each reunion. Helps us to focus on what we're going to be doing. There's vendor opportunities for sales of crafts, self-improvement products, art, which helps to offset costs of reunion if we charge a table fee or something like that. We have guest speakers, specialists amongst our people. What does the future look like for our elders and survivors and change makers? It's a time to create awareness, time to educate the general public, invite the general public, display good news stories, use interactive sessions wherever possible, use big visuals to tell our story. Feasting and culture, coming together around food, ceremony with food, and using our culture like the sweat lodges and the fire keepers, and even to take time to explain that to the general public is a good thing to do. It's a time for volunteers. Students can get opportunity for credits, and we need a volunteer coordinator. We provide meaningful and rewarding positions. Funding recipients, utilize funding groups. Time to showcase people who have fundraised on our behalf. We're going to be doing that in our next meeting. Honoring opportunity, let's make lots of time to honor our people. And for example, I had Susie, Shirley, Elizabeth, Webb, Kamagat, Ed, and the ones that are going to be doing presentations at our gathering, the ones that are out there raising funds for us right now, or making quilts for the survivors, that kind of thing. We always did a group photo, and we always did socializing. We had fun events with humor, bingo for prizes, and a variety show. So that's just the thoughts that I had about the reunions.
Oh, yeah.
Miigwech.
Can I
Irene,
just,
Irene,
can I
do
just
you have-
ask you, can I just ask you something before we go to Irene? I see a lot of people that are on this that I don't know what they look like or anything. Maybe if we just took a minute to kind of have them say a few words after Irene's story.
Who's moderating this thing?
Yeah.
Just give you a little shake up there.
Irene, do you have any thoughts on why the gatherings are important?
Yes, I do. I made my notes. So,
Nice and organized, just like Jackie.
yeah, because I forget if I don't. I have some reference material, but one thing I have to say, so that it's part of the history of how we started. During the reunion in 1991, you know how we used to always gather in front of the memorial in a big circle near the tree in front of the building. I think Shirley and I and Jackie, we decided we needed a covenant of some sort.
Oh, yeah.
And we found Don Jackson. We said we need a computer right away because we're gonna develop a covenant. So we took us to the very top of the school where the computer lab was. So we're sitting there. I think it was Daisy Costas that was typing away, and we come out with all these how we were going to develop the covenant. So after 15 minutes, that's all it took actually. 15 minutes, we developed a living document that we still base some of our work on. So I think that
Irene, that's what we called the declaration, remember?
Yes, we call it the declaration. So we still refer to that document. So that's how we thought at that time. Like things were happening and we just had to have it. And we got it done. We presented it at the farewell circle and everybody endorsed it. So that's a happy story of how we really got our act together. I
Mhm.
think in terms of why the reunions are important. I spoke to my younger sister Eva this morning to get some input from some of the others that don't always get a chance to come. And she told me it was time to renew friendships from all the different friends from the different communities, and to also have memories, share memories of their time while they were there and some of the crazy things they used to do. That the biggest joy was to do something you're not supposed to without being caught. So that was a thing that was very awesome to do. I remember there's one picture of Jackie and I and Marjorie Lee and Adrian Barefoot. We were standing on, what was the name of that street? Hugo Street, where we used to catch the bus. And we were all smoking cigarettes at the bus stop.
We were
And when
making
my
out like we were smoking. We didn't actually smoke.
Yeah, we were pretending to smoke. And when my daughter saw it, she goes, "Mother, you were smoking outside in public?" I said, "Yes, we were, because we were all by ourselves because it was on a Saturday. We were going downtown to paint the downtown red for Saturday." So, and I remember too, Don Jackson, he saw it and he goes, "Oh my God, you guys were smoking on the street?" I said, "Yeah, what's wrong with that?" And he thought that was so hilarious. So those are some of the memories that we talked about. And also that people get the chance to talk about their wellness in general through
Mhm.
the workshops that we offer, and also some resources of how they could start some activities in their local communities if they wanted to have a reunion at their own local home, because it's hard to travel. Sometimes people don't have the money. They were able to come to us for some help or some template of how to do it, and also how to access the funds that we needed. So yeah, and I think and just the joy of renewing friendships as we got older. And I think at this time it's very important to continue, because with all the stuff that's happening, we are now having a lot of non-native people coming to us and wanting to help in some way without even having a chance to ask for it. So that's a good thing. I think Canada has finally woken up to the enormous task at hand, and they find in their hearts they want to be part of it to help our journey, because it's going to be a journey for all Indigenous people, whether you're on reserve, urban, or wherever, and also the Canadians in general, non-Native people, because they can't. I think what's happening is they can't believe that Canada had this dark history, and they're angry, but they also want to help. And I think that's the venue that we can provide by continuing to have these, because we're into a new phase now, our group. We've done a lot of healing things, and now I think we're at a stage where we're educating all Canadians at large about what we went through and how we heal through our work we do. And that's a very, shall we say, a very nice journey to be on. I cried many tears before I started. I cried. I couldn't even talk about it without crying. Like, it took me for years to be able to actually talk about things in front of people I didn't know, because I was so overwhelmed and I didn't feel safe in places where I could talk about it. So as a survivor, I know exactly what we need to do and how people feel when they first talk about their journey. Like, I know it was courageous for Johnny today for him to share his very personal story. And because it takes a lot of courage to be able to talk about things that are very personal with people that aren't close to you, especially the people that are joining. And I thank everybody for joining us today, because that shows us that you're interested and you want to learn something and perhaps help in some way. Thank you.